Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mashak, and this is my presentation on the narration of Frankenstein. Narration is the telling of a narrative or story through one or more perspectives. These points of view are the lenses through which readers experience the tale. There are three major types of narrators commonly utilized in literary works. The first type is first person. The narrator serves as a character in the story, and he or she uses first person pronouns, I and we, to convey dialogue and plot events. The second is third person limited. The narrator is an outside viewer who conveys the events of the story. The special thing about this narrator is that he or she provides the reader with the thoughts and feelings of a single character. The third and last type of narrator is third person omniscient. The narrator is, again, an outside viewer who conveys the events of the story. The unique characteristic of this type of narration is that he or she provides the reader with the thoughts and feelings of every character in the story. Frankenstein has a total of 3 narrators over the course of its opening letters, chapters, and ending letters. Shelley's story also follows the format of a frame story, or a narrative inside another narrative. In the context of Frankenstein, the tale has 2 layers of frame story. Throughout the entire literary work, Robert Walton writes to his sister in the form of letters. R. Walton serves as a first-person narrator in 2 sections of the book. In the beginning of the novel, the opening letters, R. Walton shares his dream of venturing into the North Pole and the preparations made for the journey. In this segment, he also shares a brief encounter with Frankenstein's monster, providing foreshadowing, and his early connection with Victor Frankenstein. In the second segment of his, the epilogue of the book or the ending letters, he shares his stop to chase his dream and the demise of both Victor Frankenstein and his creature. Victor Frankenstein is arguably the most significant and dynamic character of the novel, for he created the monster, suffered from its violent actions, and ultimately devoted his entire life to destroying the realization of his dream. Victor Frankenstein serves as a first-person narrator in 2 different sets of chapters. In his first segment, chapters 1 through 6, Victor describes his upbringing, education, and creation process for his monster. Additionally, he also displays his mother's death and 2 of the 4 murders in the story, executed by the monster. In his second segment, chapters 10 through 12, Victor Frankenstein shares the nearly completed creation of the female monster, the 2 other murders, his father's death, and the time remaining between leaving Geneva, Switzerland, and arriving on R. Walton's ship. The monster is the antagonist of Shelley's horror story, and he deals the most pain and suffering to his creator through the blood he spilled. Frankenstein's creature only serves as a first-person narrator for 1 set of chapters. In chapters 7 through 9, the monster gains the knowledge of the world around him through experiences and close contact with the DeLacy family. He develops emotions such as sadness and anger, insecurities in his ugly appearance, and loneliness, and wisdom like language and literacy. Aforementioned loneliness turns into resentment towards his creator, for he blames Victor Frankenstein for every awful thing that happened during these chapters, even when he was trying to act good. In the final moments of the 9th chapter, he states his threat to take all those close to Victor or receive a female partner. There are 3 features that define the narration of this literary work for me. The first is that the perspective of the narrators, specifically R. Walton and Victor Frankenstein, can be analyzed differently given the context of the situation in the story. For example, R. Walton is a first-person narrator of his letters. However, he becomes a third-person limited narrator as he describes the story of Victor Frankenstein and his monster. The second thing that's most significant and alluring to me is the palindromic sequence of narrators. Just as a reminder, a palindrome in the English language is a word or phrase that is the same both forwards and backwards. Some common examples are mom, Bob, race car, taco cat, Nora, a raft, is it far, Aaron? And there's something also more unique about palindromes in palindromic sequences. In this case, the sequence of narrators is a palindrome for Frankenstein. We start with R. Walton, proceed to Victor Frankenstein, have a middle section with Frankenstein's monster, continue with Victor Frankenstein, and conclude with R. Walton. I've never seen narration or even a palindromic sequence like this in any literary work before. And this actually ties in with the third special feature of the story. This palindromic sequence of narrators is very, very essential to carrying the plot of the story. Think about it for a second. R. Walton's opening letters can serve as the exposition for the story, introducing characters and providing foreshadowing. Victor Frankenstein's development and creation process can serve as the rising action. Even though it's a bit of a stretch, the climax can be stated as the monster's emotional and pathos-filled journey. Returning back to Victor, his falling